about these red light cameras that are coming to San Jose. So there's a plan to have 4 of them up by July. I guess you see how things go, then you decide if you want to continue this program. I wanted to hear a little bit why you think you need to do this in the city, and maybe you could tell us exactly where they're going to be, why those areas were picked.
Yeah, that's right. So we are beginning to test red light cameras. We're certainly not first. Many jurisdictions across the country have red light cameras that automatically issue fines. These tickets will be issued for folks who blow through a red light or fail to fully stop before a right on red. The reason is simple. We want to reduce accidents and particularly make sure that pedestrians, cyclists, kids walking to school are safe. We have a Vision Zero program that is focused on making our most dangerous roadways safer and getting to the goal of zero pedestrian or cyclist fatalities, zero traffic fatalities, those in vehicles as well. We know that speeding and running red lights are some of the primary causes of deadly accidents in our city.
And so these areas that were picked, they have a high number of speeding reports and traffic accidents. Are you going to let people know where they're going in advance?
So I'm not sure that I don't have the intersections in front of me here to share with you, unfortunately, but the idea is people should follow our traffic laws wherever they are. To your point, though, yes, we are implementing red light cameras in our larger and more dangerous intersections.
Okay, so we'll see how that goes. San Francisco just started doing it, and they handed out like some 1,000 warnings. It's 30,000 warnings in the little time that they had it up already. So you're going to give people a warning first.
And that's what we're doing with our speed safety cameras as well. So there's 2 different types of cameras. The first that we're deploying are red light cameras, as you were just describing. And then we will also be doing some speed-based speed enforcement cameras. But the idea is to start with warnings, educate people, and then move to actual accountability. We just don't have enough officers to consistently enforce our traffic laws, and yet we know that we need to modify behavior of some drivers to keep everybody safe, and this is an efficient way to do that and make our roads safe for everyone.
Interesting. So 2 different kinds of cameras. So we'll see how that goes. When we talk to you later on this summer, we can get an update on like where they're going and how it's going. So we'll keep that on our to-do list here for our conversation. And next I want to talk about the budget cuts that are coming. It seems like that's just standard across the board for every household, city, county, federal government. Everyone's trying to trim some money here. There is a program, though, in San Jose that people are feeling a little uncomfortable with the amount of money that's about to be cut. It's this older adult health and wellness grant programming, and it focuses on educating San Jose's older adult community on health, social, and nutrition programs, and people are not happy about cuts coming to that program. I wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so Justine, first for broader context, we are very fortunate in San Jose to have one of the smallest projected deficits of any large city in the state. We have been very fiscally responsible, but even so, we were projecting a $35 million deficit this year. We have closed that deficit mostly by being smarter and more strategic about how we spend dollars to address homelessness, focusing on interim housing and the sort of basic, safe alternatives to the streets that are more cost-effective than some of our previous investments. That's how we close most of the shortfall. That being said, to your point, there are some services around the edges that are typically not core city services like police, fire, roads, parks, libraries, where we are trimming the budget on those enhanced senior services. I want to be clear. The senior services like fitness classes and senior nutrition that are run by city staff in our libraries and community centers are not being cut. There are grants that we have been able to grow over the years for third-party nonprofit providers that are being trimmed. I'm looking now, before I put out my June budget message on Wednesday, to find some incremental money somewhere to lessen those cuts. But we have to balance the budget, and it does have to come from somewhere. We're lucky to be in a position to not have to make major service cuts or lay folks off, as so many other cities across the state are doing as we speak.
So between now and Wednesday, you still have some decisions that you need to make. Are you able to say that people who work for the city of San Jose will be able to keep their jobs?
We're projecting headcount to be essentially flat. We're actually going to add a net of 5 new jobs on a total employment base of about 7,000 employees. So we are not projecting layoffs in terms of net headcount. Some folks will be reassigned to different roles. I can't say there won't be anybody who won't have their job change, but we're not announcing the kinds of layoffs you're seeing in other cities where hundreds and even thousands of roles are being eliminated. We're in a much better position this year, but we need to be clear. The projections for the next couple of years are not great. We're looking at potential shortfalls. So we have to be very fiscally responsible and very smart about how we use our limited dollars to invest in the basics like safety, getting everybody housed, clean city, basic infrastructure, those sorts of things.
Is this one of the tougher budgets that you've had to balance this year, and wondering why that might be true, why that may or may not be true?
Yeah, my first year we had a very modest surplus. This year we have we had to close a relatively small deficit. I think it's largely the economic condition we're in as a state and maybe as a country. We're seeing layoffs in the tech sector, not huge layoffs, but we're seeing sales tax revenue is flat. Property tax growth is slowing down. We're just in the economy goes through periods of expansion and contraction. And right now we're not seeing massive growth. I do believe next year with 2026, Super Bowl and World Cup coming to the South Bay, with the demand we're seeing around AI for new data centers and venture investment in startups, there's an opportunity for growth in the coming years. But we're in a moment of at least seemingly a bit of a slowdown. I'm not an economist, so don't take my word for it, but revenues seem to be flattening out for now.
All right, let's talk about plans to help the homeless in San Jose. We covered last week here that there was a sign up along one of the homeless encampments along the Guadalupe River Trail near West Taylor Street into 880. There was a sign up there saying we were coming. We, meaning the city, was coming to do some sweeps there. Where are those people going? Are these sweeps working? Do you have plans for a new RV site? I mean, homelessness is a real issue on the minds of people who live in your city.
It is the #1 issue, and I'm proud that San Jose is doing more to build interim housing and services, alternatives to the streets, than any other city on the West Coast. This year, we're opening well over 1,000 new safe places as alternatives to the streets. But to your question, it is a crisis. We don't call them sweeps. I mean, these are human beings, and we try to give people, we do a lot of outreach. We try to give people every opportunity to take advantage of existing services or shelter when it's available. But the state of California has a very high unsheltered rate. We're at about 70% of our homeless population living outside. And so when we need to abate an encampment, and that happens frequently for public safety and public health reasons, we have to break up long-running encampments that have fires, that have a lot of crime. When a long-running encampment gets to a point where it poses threats to public safety and public health, we will abate them, but we do weeks of outreach. We give people advance warning. We do not separate people from their personal possessions, and we make every effort to minimize the impacts when it is necessary to abate an encampment.
So you want to use the word abate over sweep?
Well, sweep makes it sound like we're just sweeping people, I don't know, under the rug or something. I mean, what we're doing is we use a framework for determining when we need to abate an encampment because it poses a public safety or public health risk, or it's blocking public right-of-way, and we try to do it in as thoughtful and humane a way as possible. We do weeks of outreach. The site I think you're referring to is actually getting 60 days notice. We are putting most of our focus, though, on building shelter, building interim housing, getting people connected with services so they have a viable alternative to the streets, so we don't spend millions of dollars continuing to just move people from encampment to encampment. That doesn't serve anyone, and it's not our primary goal.
Yeah, that's a big criticism people have is it just sort of pushes them around to different communities, different cities, and then the issue never gets solved. When you're looking at the budget for Wednesday and you know you have this big issue, are you trying to readjust money to go towards more RV sites, more abatements, more tiny homes? Are you putting more money into that?
Yes, we are, and really it's been a 3-year process now of reorienting a lot of our spending in the categories of housing and homelessness and even cleanup efforts, outreach. We're aligning everything around building out a scaled shelter system that can get people indoors. If you look at California versus, say, East Coast states and cities, we don't have the level of shelter beds or treatment beds per capita of many other places. And that is the fundamental problem. We can't afford to build everyone a brand new apartment on the public dime, but we should have dignified shelter, inpatient treatment for those who need it. And when it's available, we should require that people come indoors. That's the formula for ending homelessness, at least unsheltered homelessness in California. I believe it's achievable. I really think we need the state, though, to join us and follow the San Jose way and make sure every city is doing its part and every county is adding that treatment capacity so we can get people off the streets faster.
Mayor Matt Mahan, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have some fun plans with your family over the summer.
Looking forward to it, absolutely. We'll be spending some time in the community pool.
Sounds good. Mayor Matt Mahan, thank you for joining us here at noon. Appreciate your time. We'll see you again soon.